I'm Sheldon Franco-Rooks, IJF live stream commentator, and I'm judo. Judo to me has been my life since I was 14 years old, really. Haven't done a great deal else except being involved in and around judo. I can't imagine a time without it. I've spent too much time in judo to imagine a time when there won't be an involvement in judo. Direction, discipline, and enjoyment. Japan. Tadahiro Nomura. As a boy, 14-year-old boy, I attended the European Championships at Crystal Palace in London, and from that moment I was hooked on judo. I chose judo because of the values that I saw in judo: discipline, friendship, the competition, the fun, and I definitely chose judo. Sometimes I get emotional when I see them win. Not when they lose. I can manage a loss if they've lost, but especially when they win, because it's almost as though you feel part of their winning. And for that reason, I remember them. I remember what they've done, where they fought, who they fought. It's difficult because there are different things to look at in judo. So you have different fighters who were good at a particular time and in a particular era, and then you have the overall look of the sport. So what is the sport like now? And for me, commentating on judo now is the best. There's so many good tournaments to go to at the moment, and it's perfectly possible that there were better fighters in the past than there are now in some of the categories. But who could be better than Iliadis, or who can be better than someone like Rinnead now? So I think we've got great champions today, and we had great champions in the past. And of course, I didn't see all of the great champions. I haven't been around that long, but we still have great champions today. I started judo when I was 14, and I was at judo 4 or 5 times a week. I simply haven't got time to get on the mat now, and every time I go on the mat now, it's always the guest of some club, or some coach asks me to come and do some kind of, demonstration or show, or be part of something. And the last time I was on the mat, I think it was at the European Judo Union Judo Festival in Antalya, when I think I was thrown for the first time in I don't know how many years, and it was by one of the secretaries in the European Judo Union who never did any judo before, but we had to teach her one throw. So I've been thrown this year. I think it would be difficult to have any credibility as a commentator if you had not felt what it's like to throw or be thrown, or to be completely out of breath at the end of a contest, or to have some pain that you've had through competition, because you have to have some kind of empathy with the fighters. You have to know what they're experiencing to be able to describe it. So I think it is important. It may not be important to do it right now and be on the mat now, but in the past, in order to properly describe what's happening, you should have some experience of those emotions and those feelings. As far as the referees are concerned, and there are different levels of refereeing. I mean, we can go right from a local club competition to an Olympic referee. And I think the most important thing is that the referee has the ability to understand and interpret and apply the rules at the very, very highest level. He may not be Olympic champion, he may not be world champion, he may not even be European champion, but at some stage, some level of competition that gives the referee an understanding of what's happening is essential, but it doesn't have to be the highest. And we have some of the best referees in the world who are nothing more than national champion. I don't see anything wrong with that as long as they can do the job. I can think of 2 countries immediately, right away, who fall into that category where we know that these countries have the potential for quality judo, but they don't necessarily have the resources or the funding for that. First of all, with the 3 times world champion now, Yuri Alver, she's from Colombia. They don't have the kind of resources put into judo that would give us more people like Yuri, for example. And then, of course, North Korea. We have we've had Olympic champions from North Korea, we've had world champions from North Korea, but they simply can't travel outside of their country for not just economic reasons, but political reasons as well. And I'd love to be able to see more North Koreans competing on the international circuit. They come to the World Championships, they come to the Olympics, but we don't have them on our world circuit, and I think that would be a good thing if we could get them. I think this is bigger than just the IJF, because Mr. Visa, the IJF president, has quite, on several occasions, he's highlighted the economic and political difficulties that we as a sport try to overcome. So I think that's probably a little bit bigger than the IJF. We have the Olympic Solidarity Program that tries to help out countries that are not able to do things for themselves, but more than that, I think it's difficult for any sport to be able to take on such a big problem like North Korea, for example. Very difficult. Well, we can look at one example, a good example would be the English-speaking Caribbean. Now, if we look in other sports, let's say athletics, you know, Usain Bolt, for example, from Jamaica, how many Jamaicans have we seen who are absolutely fantastic athletes? And there must be that athletic potential there in Jamaica. Jamaica doesn't even compete at the World Championships or even at their Continental Union Championships. So we have this whole region there that could be visited and developed. Of course, Cuba is in that area, and Cuba gives us the best possible example of the fact that within that area you could have both male. Commentator, for example, is in the under 100 kilo semi-final today, and we had Cubans winning medals yesterday, female competitors. So both men and women in Cuba can compete at the highest level. Why not some of the other islands in that region? My family background is from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, so I live there. And I like the sand, I like the sea, I like the sun, and I tend to have that background for relaxation. Close to my parents now. I haven't always been that close because we lived apart from each other, but I'm spending more and more time with my mother and father because they're quite elderly now. And my daughter lives on the island as well. She lives at one end of the island and she's expecting a baby, so quite close to the family. None of my family have been involved in judo. Well, my brothers and sister were, and he competed, and my sister competed a little bit. but none of my immediate family around me have been involved in judo. So judo really doesn't come into our conversations. What does come into conversations is my work, and all of my work is judo. It's about the places that I go rather than what I do when I get there. So I always have to come back and explain where I've been, whether it's Beijing or Moscow or Miami or Kazakhstan or something. They're always asking, what are these places like, and what's it like to be there? Yeah, I have dreamt of winning in the past. Yeah, from time to time, the day ends quite late, and it's difficult sometimes to completely switch off. So people that I work with and situations that come up when I'm working do come into the dreams, but they're never nightmares. Well, first of all, there's the health aspect of judo. There's the fun aspect of judo. There's the educational aspect of judo. There's the friendship part. All of these things make for an incredibly worthwhile activity. So those are the reasons that I've been involved in judo. Those are the reasons why I remain involved in judo, and I think those are the strongest selling points.